ट्राई करो,
हफ्ते ट्राई करेंगे सर, आपने रेकमेंड किया तो पूरा हफ्ते ट्राई करेंगे
यार। नहीं है अच्छी कॉफी, प्रकरण ने बनाई है, ठीक ठीक, वेरी बैड कॉफी।
प्रकरण कॉफी किससे बनाई हुई है? प्रकरण ने।
हाँ, बट ये आस्क्ड मी कि
We are live by
लामाइल
the
या स्ट्रांग। हाँ अच्छा,
live.
but it's not a strong coffee unfortunately. Anyways,
Hello and welcome back.
and apologies for. By the way,
Yesterday-
guys, don't you think that the two of you are very erratic when it comes to doing the shows? आपको जब भी मन हो तभी आप करते हो, तभी मन हो
मैं
तभी
कल
नहीं
नहीं
करते।
था, मैं JW
आप
के
मैं
interview
बार
में
बार इम्पोर्टेंस ज्यादा क्या है, बुल्स बैरन बैंटर के दर्शक या आपका एक
पार्थ जिंदल का इंटरव्यू,
सब इम्पोर्टेंट है, पर ये इम्पोर्टेंट है।
पर वो आ रहा है, वो IPO 7th को खुल रहा है, so you'll watch, you'll see that interview.
Yeah.
But IPO season is full swing. You had Aditya Infotech listing at good premium, 50%. Lakshmi Finance, as expected, was muted.
किसको पड़ी है फिलहाल तो unfortunately the narrative has been seized by stupid
Trump
saber rattling that is happening.
ठीक है,
But I was ignorant. So first thing, but I was very happy that India gave a firm diplomatic response. How this turns out, I don't know. But there is an extent to which
हम तेरी सुनेंगे
नहीं, और चलो सुननी चाहिए, हाँ, और चुप रहेंगे कि we will wait for the right time. We will do it through the diplomatic channels, which is how it should be done. It should not be done at the women fancy of
Twitter or Truth Social.
Simple hai. And it tackles all the corners, I thought.
It was
Because it gave a response to this thing that
so yesterday evening when this came in, I was just looking at the numbers of crude because just to understand ये क्या go है. So 2024 calendar year we imported roughly around $147 billion of crude. उसमें से $55 billion was from Russia. That was around 38% of the total crude requirements. From a point of India needs around 5.4 million barrels a day. This means 1.7 के आसपास comes from Russia alone. So that's the quantum of crude we're talking about. And in the first half of this calendar year, we are around 34%. So we're still 1/4 of the crude requirement coming from Russia alone. Now, all things kept together, why is this only against India? Simple as that. Russian crudes are used by China as well. It's used by other countries as well.
No, the point.
And European
That's the
Union
point.
is using natural gas from them.
So they should look at if they want to quell the narrative, right?
Yeah.
The most common line is used is, oh, because they can't do anything to China because they are not powerful against China. They should do that. No, he's arguably the most powerful president in the world currently.
Who?
Donald Trump.
I thought
China. No. I mean, come on, US president. You give him that position, seat as power, right? But so up, you look
power
at that
comes
also.
with responsibility as well, right?
See, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, he's doing what is good for America, etc., and stuff like that. But I think this is not warranted.
He could be a president, but he's not a statesman.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a way you talk or you engage in diplomacy globally. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Of course, you may be frustrated with lots of stuff, but then you're part of democracy. You have to be.
So the point that I was making this morning about the market, the point being, it is very difficult to identify or measure the risk reward both on the upside and the downside currently. Yeah. You don't know if you go short, but tomorrow if they change the tone, suddenly you're covering. If you go long, very difficult to go weak earnings plus this on your head. How do you go long? How do you go short? Nothing. So sit on the sidelines
and look
just
at
sit on cash.
The true and look at the FPI positions in the futures. They are only long by 9%. 91% shorts, which is going on for FPIs, which is there. And that position is not moving. Normally, if when you hit 8-9%, there's a rebound that happens because of short covering and other stuff. We saw a bit of that happening on Monday, but it wasn't big enough, for us. Again, we are back almost a 0.25% today, right? I mean, we are down 0.25%. So my point is that the foreign investors are aware कि भाई ये ऐसे ही रहने वाला है. They are able to read this global picture much better then I think domestic is able to, because we are just going here and there, because there isn't much of communication which is coming from my end. Even talks are not, and at least Trump says every day something which gives you some indication.
No,
Whether
it doesn't,
no
Sajid. Sorry, I beg to differ.
indication means talk होता है, तो पता चलता
But
है कि
why do you
किसका
need to
उसका
talk?
उसका opposite है कि नहीं,
Why do
वो
you need
भी.
to talk so much?
So that uncertainty is not there, na. So the US market or US investors have understood that, don't go by what he's saying, go by what he's doing.
Which is why the talk becomes redundant.
Yes.
And which is
So it's almost the
which
opposite
in
of
fact
that.
is adding to the uncertainty, sir. Sorry to say. It's in fact counterproductive. It is actually adding to the uncertainty, just the fact that he's putting out this tweet and then going ahead and doing something completely different. So the reality from what he's actually saying is just, there is a polarity
and
in terms
but
of
from
that.
our end, do we actually know what we are doing? We haven't seen anyone talking about what our position is on trade tariff. We are saying yes, we are engaging. We want to have a fair deal agreement. Fine.
No, but so I think it's evident.
What are our
We
red
won't
lines
bend.
which we will not bend?
We will not bend.
Who said
Simple.
that? Who said that?
So that is very evident from the position we are adopting.
Who said that?
We have said we
No,
are
yesterday
looking.
the MEA has said that.
Yeah.
MEA spoke about
No,
crude.
no.
I'm talking about the trade deal here.
No. Sir, they've said that we will continue.
So we need to have our position very clear, saying that these are the no-go areas, these are the go areas,
But
and this is
Sajid,
what
मैं
we are
बोल रहा
trying
हूँ,
to do.
actions are speaking louder than words.
Exactly.
No.
So we
If
are.
India in the UK trade deal has not bent for dairy and agriculture, they will not do that with the US.
So then that becomes the stated position, right?
That
Then
is
we
the
will-
stated
So
position.
you don't
sir.
need
No,
this.
you're assuming that is the
No,
stated
sir.
position.
That is the stated position. That is the stated
No,
position.
it's
sir.
not.
Sorry to say.
No,
No, sir.
I'm assuming that it is a stated position because that's how we did for Australia, that's how we did for ASEAN, that's how we did for UK.
So that
that's
is
how
the
we did
stated
for
position
UAE.
too, sir. But so therefore that is the stated position, and we're
Yeah.
not bending. And had we bent, then the US wouldn't have applied the tariff. Simple as that.
So then we
Simple
should
as
be
that.
ready for 30-40%. Then market
Yeah.
should be
How does
happy.
it matter, sir?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a fraction of the total GDP of our country. It's a
Yes.
fraction.
Exactly.
What we miss out on is only the upside opportunity, right?
It's only
The
100.
downside is capped. Your upside is
So
unlimited.
there are two industries which will be impacted. One may be IT, and the other may be pharma, and others may not be impacted as
No,
much.
textiles.
I spoke to
Not that
Balaji
much.
Amines today.
Huh.
I spoke to Balaji Amines today. They said that the uncertainty in the US is only causing uh, that the US buyers are slightly shaken because they don't know as to when these tariffs will apply from, and whether when they place an order, whether
What
the order
price
which has been placed at is at what price. So it's actually creating more uncertainty in the US than in India, is what he said.
And sellers are able to pass through.
And he said, see, and there were two conversations I had. One with RK Forging yesterday, and today with Balaji Amines, and two very different, kind of commentary that I got. So what Balaji Amines said is that yes, we might take a bit of a knock on our margins just to ensure that we are accommodating our US customers and ensure that that relationship is maintained. But mind you, that comes at a time when Balaji Amines has faced severe issues, both on volume as well as realizations as well as margins. So all three is a drag. So I would understand that in that kind of an industry, a company is willing to take the hit temporarily and say, okay, fine, chalo, FY26, let's get out of. Maybe FY27, I'll stop taking that hit on my book. RK Forging was unequivocal. He said, I will not pay 1 cent of that tariff. I will pass it on completely. It is theirs to carry.
So then the
So
inflation
Indian
goes
companies are coming out and saying these things. It depends on the sector, but broadly that's the way it's working.
So that's the tariff thing. What about the Fed part of it? In the last 3 months of jobs data has been revised. Do you think now the Fed will cut rates in September?
I think the Fed will be cognizant of the fact that there is an inflation storm coming potentially for the US. You wouldn't want to do it.
So you'll still stay put. So the only two rate cut which was there in September and December, now it will be only in December. So one rate cut, because even in the last thing,
I may be wrong completely, but I'm just saying the US is seeing a potential inflation uptick coming.
Hmm.
If they haven't revised the rates downwards with the current inflation statistic, how will they do it when the inflation data moves slightly higher? Part one. Unless the economy takes such a big hit, if the Fed says that instead of being inflation targeting, we are looking at rescuing the economy. World over too, I think I was reading a newspaper article today which said that, or a website article today which said that China might be looking to hike rates soon, right?
So is Japan. I mean, they're also facing inflation. So that's something which is there.
Interesting inflation rate dynamics the world over.
And what about India tomorrow? Rate
Pause.
pause?
100%.
No.
Now you want to pause. Now you want to take it. You've done more than what was anticipated. You did a 50 last time. You take a pause now. Wait, see what the US situation is looking like. There's no hurry. I don't think too much of capex is happening for the government to cut rates in order to spurt capex.
That's surprising, right? Because we saw a spurt of things happening towards the end of November, December, seeing a lot of orders coming in. But that's not translating into capex or.
नहीं हो रहा है. So
नहीं
I
हो रहा है.
think
वो क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? वो that's the question.
So I think the most people said that the beneficiaries of capex. I was talking to ABB yesterday. Right, the beneficiaries of the capex are saying that one, in such periods of heightened uncertainty, it's very difficult for a private sector guy to take a large call on capex unless their business is completely aligned to domestic policy. और वहाँ पे there is certainty. जैसे wind energy में हो रहा है, जैसे या energy transition में हो रहा है, या data centers में हो रहा है, कि चलो उसमें आप capex डाल दो, कि धंधा हो जाएगा, because आपको पता है कि देश उस तरफ जा रहा है.
That's an eventual movement for us.
But for a lot of others, it's very difficult. Also, he said that on the capex side as well, the base orders, small ticket orders, smaller cycle orders are happening. They're seeing good growth there. At the other end of the spectrum, the large orders, long cycle orders, that is where the problem is.
So then they're back to an issue, because last year what saved us was back-ended capex by the government, PSU capex and the central capex. Now in the first half, we were thinking that central and PSU capex will be slow to start with. Private will be taking the lead. That is not happening, and again we'll have to push capex towards the end of. That's going to happen, right?
Very
in that
likely.
sense.
Very likely.
So then the growth targets which we are talking about and all that all will be under pressure, because it becomes just back-ended growth again coming into play.
Very likely.
What about you? Banking means capex is linked to banking in Q1 disbursements.
Sajeet, the crafty conversationalist will finish your conversation and then say, okay, so now both of you, what do you think about my earnings growth theory? He's crafting the message. एकदम शातिर खिलाड़ी है.
Yeah, but I mean, where banking is concerned, SBI said that they are expecting an uptick in corporate. A couple of other banks also. But see, this has been a little bit like specialty chemicals. They've been talking about recovery in corporate since a while now, but it's not been coming. So I'd take it with a large quantity of salt with what they're saying. So while they continue to guide, okay, corporate, is likely to happen soon, it's not happening. There's still a wait and watch. I don't know if there's more required on the policy side, because policy push has been very strong. But I just think that there's more required on the translation side, which is that a lot of things have been bunched together. It's going to take some time for all of this to translate, and it's not going to translate as quickly as one would have anticipated, is just possibly my opinion. But I mean, maybe Niraj sir and you are in a better place to answer these things. I don't have as much experience.
What's your take on the earnings then?
नहीं, पहले आप बताओ.
नहीं, I'm pretty much in the same place where I was. That earnings expected to be full year earnings FY26 should be around 5 to 6% growth.
ना ये तो यार
उससे ज़्यादा नहीं है.
बहुत मंदी में वहाँ.
मैं बहुत मंदी में नहीं हूँ. मैंने देखा है आज आपका सीमेंट वाला की 48% और 50%.
वो तो वन सेक्टर है. वो तो एक सेक्टर है. छोड़ो वो और एफएमसीजी छोड़ दो.
निफ्टी अर्निंग की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. 5% 5 to 6% से ज़्यादा
नहीं. But
and I was expecting banking to be the rescue here, but banking is also not doing much in Q1.
And FY26 will not be a very strong.
देखो, I would now we are at 24,600, sir. 24,600, right? So 24,000 पे,
Hmm.
if the market goes down, right, it's baking in
20 times.
4 to 5% earnings growth.
Okay.
ठीक है ना, वो then it's not a surprise कि then it's the common folklore is के ये है
तो 600 पॉइंट में आप 5 से 6%।
तो सर नहीं सर तो
नहीं,
ये
तो
बताइए
मैं-
ये बताइए छोड़ दीजिए चलिए 24,600 पॉइंट सर इज नो वैल्यू
No.
लेट्स थिंक ऑफ इट फ्रॉम दिस पर्सपेक्टिव चलो 24,600 पे सॉरी आई एम इंटरप्टिंग 24,600 पे राइट और 24 में उतना कुछ फर्क है नहीं 5 और 7% में उतना कुछ फर्क होगा नहीं जस्ट सेंटिमेंट इम्पैक्ट विजय केडिया ने बोला कि he is sitting on 30% cash.
Yes,
And he told you.
To each their own. My limited point is this, that I believe that अगर वहां पे हो जाता है and if the market stabilize between 24 and 24,500, the market becomes a classic bottom up market because that's what it will become. कि अगर वो होगा निफ्टी बहुत गिरेगा नहीं, but if there is a really good cement counter, if there are these platform companies, if there is something else which is delivering growth, वहां पे crowded trade होता जाएगा. Specific pockets which give you money, very stocks.
पर सर वो तो 25,500 पे भी हो रहा था.
मैं ना नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, नहीं, बट वहां पे नहीं, वहां पे आर्ग्यूमेंट ये था कि बिकॉज द मार्केट इज ओवर वैल्यूड एंड देयरफॉर यू वांट टू बाय द राइट वैल्यूएशन. यहाँ पे एट 23,500 24,000 it will be the market which is just about correctly valued and you want to buy stuff which is showing growth.
You're saying 22 times to 20 times. 22 times 25,000.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ because मैं निफ्टी बाय करने की बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ सजीत.
अच्छा.
I'm saying निफ्टी, you forget the निफ्टी then.
Okay.
निफ्टी में भी शायद एक आध दो स्टॉक होंगे जो शायद ग्रोथ दिखा दे. मैं बोल रहा हूँ मार्केट will become, yeah, the nifty will drive the sentiment. It will not crack the sentiment too much because it will be stable. और कितना ही बिकेगा 23,500 24,000. तो वहां पे टिक गया, चलो 1000 पॉइंट और नीचे टिक गया और गिरेगा नहीं. Bottom up stock specific things will happen. So this market increasingly now looks like a bottom up market. This Diwali when we do the shows कि दिवाली में मुहूर्त सौदा क्या करने का, it becomes the most important Diwali conversation in the last 4-5 years. Maybe actually second to the COVID lows. Yeah, COVID Diwali was big. This is probably the second biggest.
Interesting.
ये बताइए, there are these new appointments that have come through. Mr. Balaji on Tata Motors. Sorry, I've just completely switched off.
No, that's okay.
No, those are important ones.
Plus we need to get
to leadership changes.
Questions also. Yeah.
Rajiv Anand, Mr. Balaji.
Are you surprised with Rajiv Anand?
I'm not surprised, and
because you were looking at Arup could have
Anup Shah
was.
Yeah, so I don't know where he goes. That is a fascinating thing now playing in my mind. That where does he go? But what's the sense? I mean, you both understand the top down better.
No.
Both.
I think better or worse.
I think PB Balaji going to JLR is the best thing to happen for JLR, I guess. You know, a former consumer guy, HUL Unilever, Tata Motors CFO, and JLR. He will control that entire thing there. And it comes in the back of that, there is a demerger pending with Tata Motors, which is also happening, right? The CV and PV are going to be separated in that sense. And at JLR, though he is going to be the first Indian to head JLR, I think the EV thing is something which Chandra is trying to bring in. I think that, we need more kind of emphasis into the EV market. And he will be able to bring that. That reluctance is there, right? Even domestic market mein kyun do EV kind of thing. That is something, and the turn. If you look at Tata Motors turnaround that happened, it happened with one of the platforms of JLR only, which came into it. Harrier platform was a JLR platform which was brought in. That turnaround, the way Tata Motors is there, right? So you're going to see some kind of works happening in that segment. So from that point of view, yeah, it is a very good appointment which is coming for Tata Motors. Valuation wise, how it's been doing in losing market share or margins impact, all those things are okay. But it's a long-term strategic move which has been played here.
Okay, so you are informed with that.
I'm from. I expect that to be a very good move. I did expect that. I thought, he may get elevated to the group level or something, but JLR is also a good one.
Yeah, the thing we spoke about in the newsroom earlier today, I don't know if you had a chance to look at this, but Sona Comstar in its commentary said that there is excess battery capacity sitting in China. And not just an excess, a very large excess is what they alluded to. Because When a company like that comes out and says excess, it doesn't
It is
just mean an excess.
yeah.
It means an excess, right?
You know, it expected, na?
And therefore, and battery, which is the largest part or in terms of value of an EV, if that cost were to come down, you could see a completely different environment in the next 3, 4, 5 years with regard to auto.
True. So who benefits in that sense, right? Means the excess battery thing is a given thing, because why I'm saying is given because we saw BYD putting out high heavy discounts, right? The cars were not getting sold. So if the main user is not selling it, then battery capacities are higher there. So it's going to have it's going to be something similar to what we saw for wafers and cells and modules for in the renewable space, when the prices are very high and then it starts falling. The same thing we'll see here. But there's an interesting thing which has happened in the domestic power sector as well. There's a notification which has come from the money ministry saying requirement of having battery energy storage system in every bid that you're going to put in, and that increases the BESS role in the country. So that's also a big one which is going to be
Everybody's doing this.
Everybody's doing that.
Wari signed a agreement with 3D Battery from Israel
Yeah.
for battery
Because
energy
now
storage systems.
every power agreement requires that to be there. So you're going to put that kind of capacity in over a period of next 5 years. You will see that playing out in a big way.
Most certainly.
But as nationalist as I am, you know,
हमको फिर भी चाइना से import करना पड़ेगा.
Exactly.
Sorry, come again.
This ensures that there is going to be a large dependence on China, even
it's
going
going to- it's
forward
going
in
to
this
change.
key commodity.
See, it's
And
going to
battery is largely going to get commoditized, and likely there will be a
There
large
will-
dependence.
But
on
मैं
China.
बोलूं
ये change हो रहा है.
ये भी विधि का विधान है. Right now they have control over that supply chain entirely end to end. No matter what you do, you can't deviate from that. There are companies which are trying to put up capacities, trying to do other things. So, for example, Vari's JV with this Israeli battery company is what? Getting in technology which reduces dependence on one nation, whether it's China or US is separate. So I think eventually it will happen. I think I love Prashant Khemka's optimism around this, wherein he says, by the way, we should take questions now, but he says that both in AI as well as this battery ecosystem, eventually these things become commoditized, and you use them like a commodity. So don't panic when Y2K happened and tech became fanfare. India was never at the forefront. 5G, 4G technology, India was not at the forefront, but India can implement things at scale well now. And so if was India the inventor of 5G or 4G? No, but India is arguably a large user, and has it disrupted lives? Has it taken profit pools massively away? No. 2030, I think we'll be talking about this, that we worried so much about what AI will do. I think we'll all use
In
AI.
the next between 4G and 5G, we've seen a lot of indigenization of telecom infrastructure in the country.
बहुत ये सब
हुआ है.
people बोल रहे हैं कि इसमें भी होगा.
इसमें भी होगा.
इसमें भी
Exactly.
होगा.
वो supply chain
चाइना के पास कंट्रोल है रेयर अर्थ मटेरियल का,
हाँ.
उसको बेचना तो पड़ेगा ना. सिर्फ कंट्रोल करके क्या है? यूजर इंडस्ट्री
वेयर हाउस में रख के तो ना करेगा.
So I think there are people who are kind of looking at the longer picture and saying कि नहीं ये भी है. But of course near term we should worry about it.
Harshit Parekh has a question. Do you think that things can now escalate as India is now going offensive? Something like China can happen where a tariff go up like 50% or 100%?
देखो, I think India is kind of, मेरे हिसाब से, my view, I don't know how you guys think about it, but very quickly, India is kind of playing it measured. India is not saying तुम बोल रहे हो कि 25% तो हम बोल रहे हैं तुम्हारे पे 25%. That is what China did. India has not done that. India is playing it measured, diplomatic. India is smart. India wants, I'm not saying China is not smart, but I'm saying India is smart because India wants a deal. I mean, Donald Trump is one thing, but India and US have had a good relationship in the recent past. You don't want to disrupt that apple cart, right?
You know the advantage that India has, and I was listening to one podcast which was there, is that India has something called IAS, Indian Administrative Service. They frustrate the politicians like anything, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to Trump as well. Simple.
This is my view. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how the two of you
And
think.
no, I think if they levy a 50 or 100% tariff, it's going to be more US's loss than India's. I mean, that's just the way I think of it.
But it impacts market sentiment.
It does.
anyway, so
It
keep that
does.
in
You know,
mind.
But
there
it's
was
going to be
a
more of
there was
US.
a podcast of City which I was listening to, and they said we have from a crude point of view.
Time किधर है इतने podcast सुनने का?
बहुत मिलता है
काम किधर करता है भाई तू?
रात को सुनता हूँ बैठ के आराम से नहीं they said we have actually baked in $80 if crude goes above $80 and for every $10 is 0.3% का impact होगा वो GDP में current account deficit में that's what they said so till $80 we are fine उसके बाद देखेंगे जो है और inflation everything is not going anywhere so we are pretty much control on inflation so that's the thing which is there. Acha, boring and self-discipline. Hi, I love the show. Streets buzzing with over Devyani Sapphire Foods deal. They have already picked up BBK, which is biryani by kilo. Results are improving. Do you see strong growth potential here?
QSR.
QSR is now, I think, it's a consolidation phase for QSR. Right?
Yeah, starting to come back, but the valuations are difficult. Also,
valuation are much lower than what they used to be.
Yeah, but बोल रहा हूँ valuations are difficult to go up simply because ये growth पे थोड़ा question marks आए हैं, right, in same store sales growth numbers. So just be
and across the board,
except for Jubilant, which is more an infra company than a pizza company, to be honest. But yeah. So I mean, yes, are valuations now attractive? Have people who are naysayers turned bullish? Yes, they have. But difficult to say whether buy from here or not.
Okay. There is Shubham Dimri. Hi, please take my question. Yes, Shubham, we are taking a question. Your view on NSDL and Nuvama long term. NSDL, yeah, capital markets is the bullish thing which we are talking about. Yes, you shouldn't look at from short term perspective. NSDL का भी कल listing होने वाला है NSDL का. So you're going to see some good listing coming in for NSDL and Nuvama long term. I think Jane Street.
Yeah, technical error. Technical error है ये तो.
और technical or there is a event also expected to happen, right? Which is there. So वो भी होगा. तो
long term ठीक है.
Long term. Sudhanshu Pandey, hi. Now we have CDSL, NSDL, BSC, and Protean. Yes, we have. What will be your pecking order given the respective variations?
There are others as well. There is KFinTech.
Yes, but
there is BSC.
BSC डाल दे उसने. CDSL, NSDL, BSC, and Protean.
but KFinTech भी है.
KFinTech भी है हाँ.
तो डाल दो आप.
5 हाँ तो 5 हो जाएंगे.
कल NSDL
you want 5 then you take 5.
I'll take 4. NSDL डाल दिया. मेरा
CDSL.
CDSL है इसमें. CDSL, NSDL, BSC, and Protean. And KFinTech चाहिए तो वो भी डाल दो 5.
MCX capital market play गिनोगे आप? नहीं. Capital market infrastructure, yes, right?
Capital market infrastructure, but I don't think that's
not strictly stock related.
Commodities, yes. But in the pecking order, what will be your pecking order?
All are important for the capital markets. Yeah, how can we give a pecking order? I think there was a note from Bernstein on the asset managers, right? वहाँ पे उन्होंने दोनों wealth manager को I think both Nuvama and 361 को rate अच्छा किया है. A lot of bullish brokerages on KFinTech as well.
Yeah.
Not as many on CDSL, I believe.
Yeah.
And BSC has an issue. If indeed today there was one of the news channels has put out that even
that's the old one which is there.
Weekly options expiry might get cancelled, right?
For
they might
that will happen for both for BSC and NSE.
Agree. मैं कहाँ ना बोल रहा हूँ, मैंने बोल रहा हूँ. But I'm saying that will reduce earnings. Therefore, maybe there is an overhang.
No. So let's put that in perspective. What SEBI is trying to say is that globally, if you look at a derivatives market, especially options market, the options are more active in the second month, and in a longer term for long-term contracts. We have created ourselves what do you call a lot, casino kind of thing by putting it weekly and other stuff. And SEBI is now realizing that this is creating a lot of headache for themselves. So they are trying to push this weekly to a fortnightly. And gradually to a 1 month and pushing the liquidity in the long
to 3 months.
1, 2 and 3 monthly. So then liquidity will go to the second month, right? That's means सबसे ज़्यादा liquidity second month में होता है globally. कोई भी futures में जाके देखो, कहीं पर भी options में देखो, उधर जाके होता है. So that's what they're trying to do. But Sudhanshu, I think I would put NSE a little higher because I've seen the number from the RHP. they have a very diversified top line in that sense, and that's why risk wise, CDSL is highly risky because even though they have 15 crore DMATs and NSDL has 5 crores or 5.5 crores, the capital market risk to on the basis of transactions coming down or anything, if this is going to happen, NSDL is much more safeguarded in that sense.
Got it. Okay.
John Wick, all we need is a fair trade deal with US.
Agreed.
Yes, agreed, John. Shitej is talking, I'm aggressively putting my SIP into Nifty IT index instead of specific stock. Is it the just one? Is it the right approach considering I'm a contra investor?
Yeah, I mean, for a counter investor who's willing to take the thematic risk, a lot of people are doing that. Parag Thakkar, for example, is saying that he's now put a largest allocation in one of the stock. I think Infosys, one of his larger allocations, because he's saying that he believes IT will come back. It's the people who buy that. I don't know, Sajeet, you are the best placed person.
For IT, I still believe that second half is going to be the game changer for IT. It's first, पहले 2 quarter तो भूल ही जाओ. Third quarter में आपको revival मिलेगा और FY26 अगर flat आप close कर पाए, means if you are able to close on a flat note on the top line, you have crossed the hurdle. Simple as that.
कितने बजे भाई साहब? Should we wrap now?
40.
Yeah.
But बहुत सारे सवाल हैं.
लेकिन इसको जल्दी करते फिर. Hello, Elitecon, a BSE stock has gone from being a penny stock to mid cap in less than 6 months. Could you please look at the stock? It seems like circular trading. Sure, we will
ask profit.
We will ask our investigative team to look into it. Tejas Gambhir, good noon. We really miss you at 12. I have a question on ABB, sir. How do you see the outlook for India's perspective, and then its parent? Also regarding robotic business demerger, how do you look at it?
They have announced the robotic business demerger for India?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's globally, and India में भी होगा ना?
Achha, but no, that will not be a very
big business
large piece for ABB. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but net, I just spoke to ABB. I think what ABB as a stock is grappling with is a change of cycle. They've enjoyed very high multiples on a higher order book and growing EBITDA. And typically वो होता है कि EBITDA grow करता है, so 2x, 3x grow करता है और multiple जबरदस्त grow हो जाता है in an up cycle. Right now they are in a down cycle wherein the EBITDA might still grow higher, but the multiple comes off. So that is where the problem for ABB and some other businesses are. It could last for maybe a year or two. So be careful if you're investing. Look at the एक simple chart करना चाहिए. Sorry, we have to do it very quickly. एक P multiple का chart draw करना चाहिए. Try and buy it at the trough of the multiple. Don't buy it at the peak of the multiple. That's the limited point.
Okay. Prasad is saying, guys, you need to be consistent. You can learn something from Trump. How consistent he is in stupidity, lying, and autocratic behavior.
Do we need to be consistent? We certainly need to be.
Shreya Profit, NDTV Profit, sir, can Adani Port surpass market expectation? Do you expect results? I think results are expected today. So we can't comment on it. Prasad Sawant, demand side is not picking up in India. Unemployment is rising. Hence, if RBI is expected to cut rates this week and further, should we expect currency to slide quickly to 89.90? If that happens, it will slide to 89.90. If we are already at 87.80.
I think the forwards market should be baking in no cuts, right?
I don't think.
I think there's a divide now.
I'm expecting currency stability because you have large forex reserves, and in any case, you have all these conflicts going on with regard to tariffs and geopolitics and all of that.
But
at this time you don't want to play?
Wouldn't they let the currency slide a little bit also, and not intervene? They did to take advantage of
89.90.
Need to take advantage of the tariff, right? 25%
tariff. Tariff है तो उसको counter कैसे
करें? China ने वही किया था ना? They allowed the yuan to slide a bit.
तो शायद करने दे, but पता नहीं. I mean, difficult to call that, to be honest.
Niraj sir, there are a couple of things on RBI commentary, so let's club all of them. One is what's going to happen tomorrow at the RBI. Bank Nifty going to surge? Second is that any idea RBI governor's commentary outlook? Will he keep it neutral or will he going to change again? And these are the 2-3 I'm clubbing.
Well, I don't think so. I don't know what you think, Sajeet. I don't know what Hersh thinks, but I don't think there'll be too many changes. I think it'll be a status quo policy with nearly repeating what was mentioned in the last policy, because the Indian data hasn't changed. They'll probably talk about benign inflation in India. My view.
I guess that what I'm hearing and reading is that now some people are talking about two rate cuts. One could be in August and one could be in December. That's what they're talking about. But as you said, we already have gone through 100 basis points, and we haven't seen the impact of that happening much into the either in consumption or others. So there has to be something to push that rate cut down, so that consumption begins. Uh, how will Adani's stock split will spur the growth of the company in long term? Stock split doesn't spur the company's growth. It's basically brings in more liquidity in the stock. Simple as that.
Very technical.
After recent quarterly results, what's your view on IndusInd Bank? After a long time, we're getting a question on IndusInd Bank.
Yeah, no. So it's still a wait and watch, right? Now Rajiv Anand will come in. He will take over. I would call Q2 a washout quarter. Q3 is when I would really start listening to IndusInd Bank to try and understand how quickly the re-rating can possibly happen.
Do you think that re-rating will means? I thought the prices have already run up, right?
One time book pe hai, sir. So re-rating is from 1 to possibly 1.3, 1.4, 1.5.
So
which it used to traditionally.
So अगर 1.5 होता है तो कितना अपसाइड होगा प्राइस में?
50%.
50% यहाँ से जाएगा.
मैं कहाँ बोल रहा हूँ जाएगा सर. मैं अगर मुझे पता होता जाता तो मैं इधर बैठ के तो नहीं बोलता सर. That's the last thing I would do.
No. If the price to book is going from 1 to 1.5, then price
re-rating can be upward or downward. That's point number one. I want to tell viewers. It can be downward as well if there are two washout
downward
quarters.
को de-rating कहते हैं.
Yeah, so de-rating or a re-rating, either way. And yeah, I mean, you'd want to listen to commentary in Q3. I would say that. आप बताओ आपके experience में generally when something like this happens, at least 2 quarters out.
I think I think we are putting a lot of expectation on Rajiv. Give him 2 to 3 quarters to settle down.
Which is exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No quarter
I think FY27 is the one which we should be looking at. Simple
okay, so you're saying even 2 quarters further out. So a year from now
because,
is when you will have visibility.
There's no systems in IndusInd Bank. You have to put every system in place. कंप्लाइंस से लेके फाइनेंस से लेके रेगुलेटरी से लेके सब कुछ डालना पड़ेगा. वो 3 क्वार्टर तो लगेगा उसके लिए. और कितना बता देगा ना वो किचन सिंकिंग का ना वो भी पता नहीं हमको.
सर वो बता देगा ना कि कितना प्रोसेस करने का चेंज करने का जरूरत है वो भी बता देगा वो.
फाइनल क्वेश्चन सदानंद सिन्हा हैज फॉर यू नीरज सर. How is AFCON performance considering other infra stocks like upcoming highway infra?
No, I'm not sure honestly. I just know that they won some very good orders also in.
But we've seen a slowdown in
which country?
Bahar.
Croatia. They won 2 large orders in Croatia.
But tell me one thing. At some point in time, we saw highway companies being the talk of the town. We haven't seen much of an orders coming from highway companies. NHI से नहीं आ रहा है इतना order. बहुत नीचे हो गया वो. And that's something worrying for you. For road and highway companies are not at least orders to normally तो 50 करोड़ का order भी announce होता था. आज वो भी आजकल
orders कम हो गए.
So there's something.
It is worrying, but for AFCONs, they're winning a lot of global tenders, which is actually a really good thing. Large global tenders, 4,000 crore, 6,000 crore.
So yeah, that's the question list we have, I think, for today. And tomorrow we come after the RBI and we speak about what RBI is going to say.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.